Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the show, Big Bold You. Now, this show was created to help each and every one of you out there play bigger in your life. I promise you, I say this every week, and I mean it. It is easier to play bigger than to play smaller. You just don't realize it yet, so we got to make sure that we inspire you each and every week to do so. We want you to be bolder, which means you have to step out of your comfort zones. That means you got to do things that are just uncomfortable for you at times. And we want you to become the best version of you, because we live in a world where there is a war between good and evil. It has been that way for many, many years, and it will be that way for many more years to come. And the only way evil wins is when good people don't do enough. So every week, 3 p.m. Central, we're coming to you, and we are bringing some incredible guests. And today, not only do we have a wonderful co-host in the studio with us right now, Kathy Kilpatrick. She's amazing. Tell everybody a little bit about you real quickly.
Wow, that's a loaded question. Kathy Kilpatrick, I'm a Splunk practitioner, and I help people to restore their gift and their call on their lives by clearing traumas, emotions, maybe childhood traumas, depression, pain, PTSD, and things like that, just to help people do what they're supposed to do and not have the junk around them.
That's right. That's right. And you know, the awesome thing is our special guest is really our very first remote guest that I've ever had on the show, which is one of the reasons why I said, Kathy, you got to come on the show with me, because we've got an incredible guest, and she is coming to us from New Jersey, Miss Roe Couture DeSaro. Roe, are you there? Yeah, there she is.
Hi, I'm here.
So, Roe, tell us a little bit about yourself and how we met.
How we met. So I am, as Jen's just said, I am living in New Jersey right now, and we actually met at the conference for eWomen Network. I'm a managing director for the Central New Jersey chapter, and now you are the managing director for Dallas. So we met right around the same time, and I am the co-founder of Gutsy Gals Get More. I'm here to really influence women to be feminine leaders. That is my love. That's what gets me up every morning, is helping, the women that are out there empowering other women, and the coaches and the transformational artists and the healers and the nurturers, especially, and all the problem solvers, women that we have. I'm here to really help them with their businesses and create, good, feel good marketing strategies that honor who they are, so that they could show up in alignment with everything that they want to do and how they want to do it in their unique brilliance.
Right. And that's one of the things I love so much about Roe, is she is the Gutsy Gal, and she's very real and authentic, just like Kathy is. And it's one of the reasons why, I don't know about you, but when you are in that space in your life where you're all about being real, you're all about being organic, you understand perfection is never, ever your expectation, because that is unrealistic. You'll never be perfect. So you tend to gravitate to people that are authentic, that realize, listen, each and every one of us has a mission on this earth to make it better and to bless the people that we're supposed to bless. And to me, nobody does that better than what you're doing, Roe. And it's just a real pleasure to have you on the show today. So before we get into more of Roe's background, and Kathy's going to help me ask some questions, because I'm sure she's going to have a ton of questions. But there's 3 segments that we do on our show every week. One of them is, I was calling it the book of the month, but I think it's going to actually become the book of the quarter. And the reason for that is because this Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill it's so impactful. And every week we've got a little nugget. And the nugget for this week is really that people's opinions are the cheapest commodity on this earth. It truly is. It's true. You can't worry about what other people think about you. And I know that's one of the things that I love about Roe, because Roe doesn't care what you think about her. You don't care what you think. At the end of the day,
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to too.
And you know what? And I love it, because we're going to get into Roe's TED Talk. And I think that you did a great job, and we're going to watch it later in the show, because you did care about what other people thought. And I think there's a lot of people out there that do, but successful people understand that you can't get distracted by what other people's opinions are. You've got to be true to who you are. And that's our little nugget for the day. So, Ro, let's talk about you. Let's talk about really where you're from, how you got into the career that you got into, and you really just what makes you tick.
Well, if you can't hear, I am from Brooklyn, New York. So everybody says, New Jersey, but it's actually a Brooklyn accent that you hear. And it's interesting, my background, because my background mainly has been Wall Street. I grew up on Wall Street, working through mergers and acquisitions. And I was a vice president for E.F. Hutton and Company. I actually broke several glass ceilings back in the 80s, for them. And then when the stock market crashed and E.F. Hutton went under, that's when I actually found direct sales, because all my male counterparts were taking jobs that were, less than what they were, because they had mortgages, and they were men, they were the breadwinners. And I got to really feel what it's like, as the freedom to be a woman already. This was back in 1987. Then I'm like, and I was like, a little like, well, you know what? No one says I have to work. So I am not going back to where I was, and I'm not going to take a cut in salary and all these different things. I'll do something different before I do that. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. And I wound up going into direct sales. And then within 2 years, I was a national sales director for a direct sales company. And then, that didn't really work out that well. And, for the next 10 years, I really was a seesaw battle woman of like riding a hill all the way to the top, and then going back down into that deep valley, into the gully, getting lost. Every time I tried to work, for myself, I would reach this level of like maybe $50,000, $60,000, and then that was it. And then when I was out of money, I would go back to corporate America and to get my six-figure, job again. And then corporate America would piss me off. It would be like, my counterparts were making $500,000 and I'm making 150 and 190. And I'm like, that's just not fair.
No.
And then I would I'm going to try to go back this on my own again. And in this period of time, my 20s are flying by, my 30s are starting to fly by. I'm married 8 years, didn't have kids yet, and ended up having my kids at 40. And, it just went this back and forth seaside battle. And then on 9/11 in 1999, I got offered with my brother-in-law to go back to Wall Street and start a hedge fund with him and start a day trading firm. And here I thought, this is wonderful. I get to go back to Wall Street and I have ownership. So I thought it was the best thing, the best thing I could have. And what happened then is 9/11 destroyed our business. And I was there that day. And I wasn't inside the building. I never made it into the building. I made it to, right to the front of the building, and then ran from the second airplane, crashing in. And that day just really set the tone of like, what am I doing? Am I just chasing money? Am I just chasing, freedom? Where am I going? And that had me just really relook at my life all over again. And that's when I got back into direct sales. But then, I kind of got that itch at 55 that I'm like, there's something more for me. There's just something else going on. And that's when I did a lot of self-discovery work. I hired a coach. Who am I? Who do I serve? What is my message? Why am I here on this earth? And that's when it really came full 360 circle where I was always wanted to empower women. And that's when I decided to start coaching women.
Right.
And that's where I am today, coaching women in business. That is, I don't coach corporate women. I just love coaching. I'm an underdog and I always love, really working, because I believe that the women in business are the women that are going to change this world right now. And, and they're the ones that really are playing small, even more so than the corporate women. They are too, but it's different. They have different issues.
Right.
So I want to keep my life simple. So I'm just concentrating just on women in business.
Right. Don't you love her, Kathy?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You need to move over here.
Yeah. Don't
us.
you love her? See, I totally understand what she's saying when she's talking about you hit your mid 50s and there's a void. And to me, there's 3 pillars of development. There's personal development, professional development, and legacy development. And it's really that legacy development, I think, when you said, who am I? Well, you are somebody that's important, that you are meant to play bigger. But to the point that you were saying, Roe, is there's so many women specifically that I just don't think they know how, which is one of the reasons why I love the topic that you picked. So just to kind of go back to the 3 segments that I do every week, usually is the book of the month or the book of the quarter. It's Ask Gens, and it's Laughter is the Best Medicine. And I'm telling you, Kathy, when we were going back and forth, she loves the Laughter is the Best Medicine, but I said, we're not going to even do it today because I really want to jump in to the topic that Roe.
Good laughter one too.
Oh, well, you've got to send it and we'll do it next week. Okay. So send it and we'll let everybody know. But I just think the 3 C's that you're talking about it's very important. So let's talk about confidence, and let's talk about clarity, and let's talk about cash, and really how those 3 elements, what are the things that we need to all know and do to achieve all 3 of those areas?
Yeah. So it's, when I just look at everything, like what are the main essentials? What are the areas that, women need to really, step up the plate if they're going to build a 6 and 7 figure business? And let me just put this first caveat out there. I'm there for the woman that is the total go-getter that really wants to have it all. That really wants to make a difference, wants to make a contribution, and also wants to have the lifestyle that goes with it, wants that income, that 6 and 7 figure income, because you could have all the how-tos you want in the world. You could know how to make videos. You could know, you know how to, to do the service that you have and the products that you have, how to. But if you don't have that inner transformation of you, if you don't know everything about you, you're going to miss the mark every time. And you could get stuck like where I did, got stuck at that $50,000, $60,000 based on, I made it to 60 grand just on confidence, just on the pioneer of me, just on me stepping out of my comfort zone. I mean, if you look at my past and what I've done with my risk taking, I probably could win the gold medal in an Olympic, because I've done so much where when I was like the national sales director for a direct sales company, I had 2 years experience of direct sales. I had no idea how to do that job, but I said yes.
Right.
And I found, and that was the first time I found that one of the muscles I did was, when you step up and you just make that commitment, the universe and everything starts falling into place. And when you step into that role, you become that role. So many times the mindset is the very first element. And that mindset shift is that we think we need to be who we are before we even take action, before we do anything, but it actually works opposite.
That's right.
So the mindset that I like to talk about, with women in business is a little bit more unique. It's past the fears and the doubts. It's like, the mindset shifts that we need to make with our boundaries with our clients. The mindset shifts. Say that 3 times fast.
That's right. I've tried to.
Right? So the mindset shift, when it comes to the money blocks, for example, I have these programs, I have these money mirrors, and I put women into 4 different categories, and some of them overlap, and some of them are mainly like 1, pleaser, pushover, pretender, and procrastinator. And so many times, if you're a pleaser, you're a woman that you really desire acceptance, and you really haven't dealt with the mindset issues of self-acceptance and self-love. And what happens, how that shows up in your business is you'll overload your packages. You will let your clients walk all over you. You will give away your services. You will fault yourself for not giving more. You'll give more than what your client even paid for. You'll make yourself too available, and all those issues are not going to help you build a 6 and 7 figure business that is making a huge impact in this world.
Right. And
So,
yeah, and I think it's so important because in general, I think women are pleasers. And I think it's important. It's kind of exactly what the little nugget from Napoleon Hill is. You can't worry about what everybody else is thinking. And I'm going to tell you,
right.
we were at a meeting just last week where somebody wanted to give away the house, basically. And I'm like, hold on a second. We're not going to give the house away now, because and the reason
Yeah.
you're doing that is exactly what you said is, and I know we can't dig into each and every one of these, but one of the ones that you said I think is really important, which is the pretender. You know, there are a lot of people that lack
Mhm.
self-awareness, and they're pretending that they're somebody that they're not. A lot of times because they believe that who they are isn't what people want. And again, it's they're worried about what other people are thinking. So
Right.
there are critical mindset shifts that definitely you have to make in your life before you're going to gain the clarity and the confidence and receive that cash. And to your point, success happens in action. So you just got to keep moving. I mean, I know
Yep.
Kathy's got firsthand experience herself on all this.
And you have to know when to use
We all
what.
do.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you go into a situation and you have a 5 energy, but you have 10 courage. You just have a 15 now. Go for it.
Exactly.
You know, and you need to take advantage, or have somebody in your corner that says, let's not give away the store just yet.
Right.
You know, and to help you. And that's why we have groups like this that help each other to grow.
And I love it, Roe, that your methodology here is very simple. You know, number one, 3 keys to gain clarity, confidence, cash. Number one is mindset, and you break that down. And I also know that you've got some phenomenal coaching programs that you can tell us about a little bit more, because we're not going to be able to go into all of this. But what's your second key element?
The second key element is getting clarity on who you are, getting clarity on what is the problem that you serve, and getting real clarity on who do you serve to, who do you serve. So many times we get caught up in, we're these pleasers again, we're these nice and pretenders, and we don't want to create a niche, and we want to serve the world. And as women, we can't serve the world and create an impact. So, if you could create that niche, who do I serve? Who's that person I really need to serve, and really chunk it down, then you'll be able to market less. You'll be able to sell your products with ease. You'll be able to attract clients easier. Yeah, and I give you a quick example of this. There is so a lot of people say, well, I sell to healthcare providers. Well, that is a wide group.
Mm-hmm.
And, then you can say, well, I sell to holistic healthcare practitioners. You narrowed it down a little bit with the holistic word, but it's still a very wide group. There's 2 women that I know that are making one is making close to $1 million. The other one's doing over $2 million, because they sell to functional medicine practitioners only. And they created packages that only a functional medicine practitioner would want and need. So they look at it like, oh wow, I need that. And they don't even care what the price is, because it is so specific to them. So you need to know who you serve. You need to know who you are, what gets you going, what are your values? Because when you were talking about earlier about the decision, with the chapter of Think and Grow Rich,
Yes.
decisions come from our courage. And when we have our values lined up and making every decision, I look at it and say, is this going to move me forward? Is this in line with who I am? Or is this going to pull me into somebody else that I am not?
Right.
That's how I make my decisions. And then when my decisions are based on my values, I'm not going to second guess them, because they came from me.
No, and the point is you're a lot happier. You're a lot happier when you're serving the people you're supposed to serve. You're a lot happier when you're associating with the right people, which is right. I've got Kathy and why I have Roe. And you've got to realize that, to your point, you can't serve everyone. I mean, that would be ridiculous. I say that all the time. I'm like, I can't help everybody in the world. I'm not even supposed to. I mean, that would be ridiculous. I still have a family. I still have fun to be had, and I like to have fun. And, so being very clear really does help. And I love one of the things that you said when the more clear that you become, when you really know who you are and you really know who you serve and you really know the problem that you're serving and helping to make better, you decrease the amount of money you're going to be spending on marketing, because you're not marketing to everybody, which is so important. So let's get to that third element.
To your point is, you are happier. Do you know, most women, we're growing stronger. We are moving the needle higher, but what happens is we are more depressed and more unhappier than ever before. So there's a disconnect there.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a whole other show.
Yes.
And
Totally.
believe me, I had an incredible business owner on the show last week, and before the show, we talked a lot about how, why is it that women start businesses 2-to-1 to men, yet men are more successful? Why is it? There's so many things, and this is going to be a topic that we address at my annual event in May 4th at Beauty, Brains, and Business, because we've got to pull together, which I know you've got a third element, and we've got to jump to your TED Talk as well. But tell everybody, why did you decide to really get involved with specific feminine leadership?
Because that's what I'm seeing is so many women are trying to build their businesses with a masculine energy, the way men do it. And we are not men. We are our own, and we need to tap into our feminine powers to be able to have that balance. To me, balance is knowing when to use your feminine energy, knowing when to use your masculine energy.
So
that is
true.
balance in life.
Yeah, so true.
The feminine energy is where we get the creativity, is where we come up with our programs that are unique to us. It's the masculine energy that we then take it to the world and put action to it.
Right. And what's interesting, and we're going to get to your third element, but I know that you obviously love Dr. John Gray, because you're talking a lot about the masculine and the feminine. And I know you love Dr. DeMartini, because you're all about living in congruency and alignment. But it was interesting. I always like to get a different perspective. You don't know what you don't know. You can't see what you can't see. And I was actually speaking to a male guy business, very successful, and we were talking about this similar topic. And he said, as a female, if you approach a male in a place of strength, they are going to respond to you in a place of strength. And a lot of times women don't want to be responded back in a place of strength. So to your point, it's just be real, be who you are, be authentic. Don't show up thinking that you've got to be all masculine and strong if that's not who you are. Now, I know Roe is masculine and strong, but you're real. So let's get to
I'm very feminine too.
Yes, for sure.
And I'm very firm but compassionate.
Yeah. Now let's get to.
I won't let you. I'll have my boundaries, but I'm going to be very compassionate about it. I sell with love. I sell with soul. I don't have to sell aggressive.
No.
Like traditional masculine.
Now, what's your third key element to gain clarity, confidence, and cash?
My third element is, and I know what you wrote here is about.
Well, you just tell me what it is. I might have written down the wrong thing. You just tell me. So it's your zone of genius, right? So we said, your mindset and your zone of genius, bringing that to the place. And then it's creating your programs that really honor who you are, and then not marketing them with feel-good marketing strategies, not listening to every guru out there and saying, do it this way, do this, and then you're just spinning your wheels and doing everything. You need to really keep the simplicity of it and just see, what resonates with you. How do you like to get out there? So when you're speaking with
potential clients, how are you conveying your personality and showing up, with that? How are you speaking to them? So it's like, it really is selling with love.
Right.
And, getting masterful at the sales process and getting comfortable with that sales process. And,
That's good.
it's, I teach all my women, when you're going to get onto either a potential client call or an enrolling conversation call, you need to come on with curiosity. You need to leave the outcome aside. You need to come on with a caring attitude. And this leads into the TED Talk, because what happens with that is, like, when you come from that place of that, inquisitive nature of learning about them, seeing what their goals are, seeing if it's a fit for you. I mean, that's what sales is all about, finding, are you a fit for me? Am I a fit for you?
Exactly. And I think that's so important, because I live my life that way. I know I'm not right for everybody, and I know everybody's not right for me. And if you go in with curiosity, like you said, with a sincere desire to, let me just figure out, are we meant to be friends? Are we meant to help one another? Are we meant to work together? Are we meant to have some type of client and relationship? If you just go with curiosity, with an open heart, that's how relationships are built. And
Right.
I do think that third element really does go so perfectly into your TED Talk. And, I think you did a phenomenal job on this, and I think we should just listen to it. But after we listen to it, I want to go right back to you, Roe, and I want you to just share a little bit more about a deeper meaning potentially behind that, and how it came about.
Okay, great.
Nine out of 10 conversations miss the mark due to lack of trust, and many of it comes from our childhood. For me, I'm the youngest child of 5, which meant I was ridiculed, teased, and made fun of by 3 older sisters and an older brother. And my older sisters tried to mold him into a girl, and he wasn't having any of it, so he gave all his testosterone energy to me like a punching bag. I remember a time when he created a fake joke and told my sisters to laugh hysterically at this joke. And naturally, I felt like a fool when I didn't understand it, so I joined in laughing with them. And they turned it around and started laughing at me, telling me how dumb I am because the joke was fake and not funny. I'm also a product of multi-generations of strong, independent women, all Italian broads. Thank you, Elizabeth. And this meant a lot of telling, yelling, addicted to being right, and talking past one another in our household. But it also lacked that touchy-feely, squeeze the air out of your lungs hugs. Into adulthood, I had experienced many Me Too situations, starting as young as 10 years old. So I think it would be fair to say you would agree with me that I acted consciously and unconsciously in a perpetual state of distrust and fear, afraid to speak up, fear of judgment, criticism, not worthy, not good enough, not smart enough. And in spite of all that's happened, I actually grew up functional, powerful, because I broke several glass ceilings at a major Wall Street firm in my 20s. But this isn't a story about how I overcame my insecurities and my hang-ups to tell you how great my life is today. I know I'll leave that up to the masses. This is a story about how words and conversations with others can bring out the worst in us. You see, when we have a bad experience, it's embedded in our memories, and it takes a mere 0.7 of a second to feel threatened and get negatively triggered by the words and conversations with others. One word can activate what neuroscientists call an amygdala hijack, setting off our fight or flight attack mode, increasing our cortisol and our stress. And before you know it, you are pushing back and shutting down the person that you're talking with, all because your brain says that this person is a foe. But on the contrary, words can trigger a part of the brain that is good and trusting and insightful. And it could serve up a cocktail to the brain's feel-good natural chemicals, such as oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin. All because your brain says you're a friend, not a foe. When we trust, well, let me put that in practical terms first, because bonds of trust generate conversational cocktails that change neurochemistry and trigger the trust network in us that brings out the best in us. Because when we trust, we feel good. We feel better. We're more positive. We're more empowered to work out issues and challenges, or get ourselves into new experiences, or even connect with others in a way that many would call synchronicity. So how do we build trust instantly in a conversation? One way is by asking questions for which you have no answers. Get curious. Move from I-centric, all about me, to we-centric, all about creating new possibilities. Because when we do that, we're in the mindset of discovery, and others can feel that inquisitive nature. And then they're compelled to open up their hearts and their minds for a mutual success. Say less of, it'll never work, and say more of, so where do you see your possibilities in a year from now? I encourage you to show up in your conversations with others by exploring beyond what you know. Listen to connect, not reject, not judge. Man, we do that enough on our own. We're at TEDx Hoboken Women today. This is our best place to have great conversations. So this is your practice ground today for conversational cocktails to have with one another. I want you to increase your oxytocin, leave out the cortisol, and connect, appreciate, and discover the elements to elevating the quality of our conversations. So raise your imaginary cocktail glass with me. Take a deep breath. Toast your neighbors and the people you know in your life, and vow, and make a vow to bring your conversations to the next level of greatness. Thank you.
Good stuff.
That was awesome. Okay, Ro, I want you to tell us more about that whole process, and really where did it come from? What have you seen in your life that you thought, you know what, we need to have this conversation?
Well, it came from, this is the beautiful work of a woman who just passed away actually in November, Judith E. Glaser, Glaser. And she does this work she calls it conversational intelligence. So you know how we have emotional intelligence and we have obviously, our IQ, but she has conversational intelligence. And this is work that she's been doing for years that it's enabled her to turn around billion-dollar companies like Bear Company. She's so many huge billion-dollar companies she was able to turn around. And this is basically how it's creating culture in companies where leaders are now, having employee engagement where they're co-creating together. And what I loved about it is that I just wanted to take this information and bring it to women, bring it to businesses. See, I see so many times out there that a lot of this training is being done for corporate America, but then the small business owner is being left out,
right?
And women are not getting this information. So I feel compelled to start bringing this information. How can we utilize this in our businesses and in our everyday life? And it's all about building that trust network, because it's the neuroscientists are finding out that it's not all woo woo. The woo woo is now backed by science.
Right.
They actually speak about, the prefrontal cortex, where I was talking about the trust, is right here in the front of our brain, which is where our third eye is. And you cannot be in your fear network, which is in the side of your brain, and in your front part of the brain at the same time. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they're learning now. So it's like, so how can we create conversations that build a trust? Because when you do have that trust, it opens up that co-creation environment, a culture.
Oh,
So like
absolutely.
there's three levels of conversation. The level one is like where you're telling somebody what to do, and it's just like, you just need to, your intention is just to confirm what you already know. So the sky is blue, the sun is out today, the house is on fire. So there's conversation we need. The house is on fire, and it doesn't have to be co-creating, right?
Uh-huh.
But then there's the next level of conversation, which most people get stuck in, and I call it, so that was transactional. This is called positional. And positional is where you're exchanging power. But lots of times what happens is you're bringing your agenda to the table. And because you're bringing your agenda to the table, you're not really listening to the other person. You're just waiting for them to be quiet so that you could put your good sense in.
Right.
So that you could put what you want. And so it's like you're trying to negotiate before you even have the trust of the other individual. And you're just trying to, you're trying to persuade people to your point of view. And it could be good, but it could be one-sided, and it could be a little too, back and forth. But the third conversation is where we call that transformational. And here's where you are exchanging energy with one another, where you get into that co-creation, and you get into that, what I said about ask questions for which you do not know the answers. Because
I
then
love
you
that.
have to be curious.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. Then you're listening to connect with the individual versus listening just to understand what they're saying so that you can get what you want to say in there.
Right, exactly. I think it's so important that you talk about trust, because I just actually was having a conversation with a person just this weekend where, in a working relationship, you can get over miscommunications, you can get over frustrations, you can get over a lot of things. But when you're in a working relationship and there's not trust there, you're just not effective. And and a lot of times you have to go to that deeper level. And I do think that's a strength of women, that women do tend to be more relational. I swear, that's one of the reasons why we're able to do the things that we do, because we truly, honestly do care. And, when Kathy made a really good point, you were talking about her third key element. Tell us.
Yeah, when you talked about, I think it was clarity, not only do we have to clarify, but we have to listen. And sometimes we're in a situation where we're so busy selling our product that we're not listening to see what the problem is, or maybe their interest, or that we do connect, or that we do have, everything you talked about, Roe, was exactly on. If I'm talking, I can't listen. So it's the same thing with the front and the back of the brain. If my ears aren't working, my mouth is, and vice versa. So it's important we don't have to do the marketing, because all we have to do is listen and say, oh, you're my client. Are you my client? Are you my client?
Right, exactly.
Right.
And it's all that's quantum science. And I'm so big into it. I mean, obviously you could tell Roe and I met, and when Roe and I met, we were like, two birds of a feather. And because it's the exact same blueprint. And I think that when somebody gets on it, they start to realize that, there is hope. And I think everything that we're talking about, your TED Talk, which I'm just so excited for you to step out into that. That's something that I am working with as well. I haven't done my TED Talk yet, but I've been a judge and have sponsored the event here locally.
And we know you will soon.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. It is in the works, but it really goes perfectly with my Ask Jen's question. And, every week I've got people, because I'm a leader like you are, Roe, like Kathy is, and we work with clients, we work with people, and people are asking questions. And this question goes along perfectly with our show topic. And the question this week is, it's very simple, and Ziggy's going to pull it up because I want everybody to see it. And the question is, what's the best way for me to gain confidence? And I too, like Roe, believe number one is it's your mindset. It's really understanding the fact that we are all limitless, and each and every one of us will always be growing. The second thing to gain confidence, in my opinion, is you've got to associate with the right people. The people that you are around are either going to build you up or they're going to bring you down. And when you're building your confidence, you've got to make sure that you're around other people that are just as committed to your success, and they will help build your confidence. The third thing is daily affirmations. I am really, really big into self-auto suggestion. You got to say, I can do it. I can learn to do anything. I will do this. I'm not going to stop. You've got to say those things because your subconscious brain truly is in control. And the fourth thing I believe to gain confidence is you got to do action. Success happens in action. You've got to get out there. You've got to do things that make you feel uncomfortable. And then the fifth, which is my fifth for everything, how I end, is you can never quit. And you got to keep going. Enjoy the journey. Learn while you go. There's no such thing as failure. You're just learning. And I think that really goes hand in hand with the experience that Kathy has had. I think it goes hand in hand with the experience you've had, Roe. And I can't tell you how excited I am to share you with the world, to share you with our world and our community and our audience. And I really highly, highly encourage each and every one of you, if there's one thing, one golden nugget that you took out of the show today, please share this program. Share it with your friends and your family members that you think need it, and re-listen to it, re-watch it. If you want to get connected to Roe, what's the best way to do that, Roe?
You can go to, if you want to go to my website and get some more information, or you can just, email me. Or call me. I'm very easily accessible on Facebook. I do Facebook Live 3 times a week. My handle is BA Gutsy Gal. So you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn on, BA Gutsy Gal. You could find me there. And my website is Roe Couture DeSaro.com. And, and right now is actually perfect timing because I do have a new program that's coming out that's starting in March 11th. And it's called Legacy Essentials. And it's what are the essentials, ingredients that you need to create a legacy for your life. So, which includes a lot of the 3 elements that I just said.
Right.
So it's all about that marketing, that creating that niche, and finding out what your unique brilliance is, and creating your signature system, and creating the packages that go with it, and starting to charge what you're worth, so that, you're going to be powerful. You're doing the work. You might as well get paid for it.
That's right.
Well,
and that really does speak to what your legacy is. There's no doubt that Roe is a transformational leader. And if you are interested in getting involved with her group coaching program that she has, or you want to plug into her 3 Facebook Lives that she does, please connect with her. You can always connect with me. I love the people that I have on my show. I love the people that are out playing bigger in this world, because the world needs you playing bigger. So thank you
Jen,
so much, Roe.
one
Yeah,
thing
of course you can.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
Because I just did a week-long, actually a 6-day-long free workshop training online on how to sign on new clients last week. And I was going to be taking down the videos, but I'd be happy to leave these videos up for this week so that your viewers can go see them.
Please do that.
Yeah, they just have to come to my closed Facebook group, which is Gutsy Gal Truth Talk.
Okay.
And just come into that Facebook group, and then they could see all the videos, and they're fun. I gave a lot of value.
All right. Now, Roe, what you have to do is when you go into the comment box, please, and put either the link or write exactly what it is. I know we got Kathy looking at it right now. That would be amazing. We would love, she's going on right now. She's going on the Facebook. We would love to do that. We would love to learn anything that we can, because again, success doesn't happen alone. You've got to hitch your wagon to real leaders, and Roe is definitely one of those real leaders. And so we thank you so much, Roe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait to see you later this month.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you. So for all of you out there, thank you so much for your time. Please join us again next Monday, 3 p.m. Central. And until we meet again, be big, be bold, and most importantly, be you. Bye-bye.